Alright, here we have Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground. I'm starting a new run in my campaign in my attempt to defeat the Lady of Ashes, and this run will start as almost all of your games start, and that is with defeat. So, I've just lost a run, and now I'm starting another run. The storm god Sigmar is going to reforge my soul into a new body. This is my avatar, Freya Skyhelm. You can see she's extremely badass. We'll have that storm god get to it.
Yes! Thank you, Lord Sigmar.
Now, this is already somewhat of an advanced campaign. And I've got this nice cosmetic armor that you see, and this badass fucking warhammer. So delicious. Now, in the Age of Sigmar, you choose one of 3 different factions, and as you play, you unlock war spoils, or, here's all the units I've unlocked, during the course of the game. What this means is that as you collect things over the course of every game that you play, it all goes into your war spoils. And here you can see all these characters that I've collected over my time. I could destroy any of these for tribute, which you can use to give experience points to your characters inside the game. I haven't really done that because I guess I play so often I don't really care to. Besides, I like them. Look at my stable of folks here. You keep these skills, which you can add onto your units, and you develop an entire library of them in between games. You also have, the war gear, which is essentially equipment, right? And then you have these divine acts, which are single-use cards that you can bring with you and use once, and then they're destroyed forever. You can also collect these lore cards, which I don't think have any effect on the actual game. I suspect that I like to think that once you collect an entire series of one of these guys, you'll maybe get some sort of awesome reward, but I'm not sure yet. Anyways, what this means for us is that at the beginning of a new run, you can only take a very limited amount of equipment with you on your run. You have to take a champion. This is my only champion. As you can see, she's extremely puissant. Let's have a look at this character card here. Over here you can see that I deal 5 damage, which in this game is an extreme amount. I have 3 armor, which we'll cover when we get into the game. I have 10 health points and 2 movement points. 2 is pretty average. None of the characters in this game are very, fleet of foot. This is my amazing hammer, the Shatterer's Second. Let's have a look at this guy. You can see that it adds 1 to my damage, 1 to my armor, and 1 to my health, and it has an amazing cosmetic graphic, so, how can you not like that? It's got this ability Storm Slam, and this ability that, enhances Storm Slam, and it looks really great, so that's probably the best part of it. Anyways, we're obviously taking her. We've got 5 skill slots unlocked. You can see that we're already at max level here, so this is about as powerful as this character can get without getting better skills, weapons, and what have you. My skill slot's already full, so I'm not going to deal with that. I can choose to take 2 other characters with me, of which I already have my favorites picked out. I'm going to bring these Castigators here, which are a ranged unit. I think this is an armor slot, but I'm not really sure what goes here. I haven't found anything for it yet. Same with this, who knows? This is cosmetic armor, but this is the only one I have for them. They look well enough. It's fine, whatever. This is my badass warbow. You can see that it's armor piercing and does extra damage. Thumbs up, so good. And we're also going to take with us these Retributors, of which I only have 1. They're a rare unit, and they're incredibly badass tank units, and I love them. They also, as you can see, already have the best gear available that I have unlocked for them. They've got all their skills in place. They're not quite max level yet, but they'll gain experience during the course. You can see that they're totally full of spiky lightning bolts and ready to raise hell for our Dark Lord Sigmar, who's evidently supposed to be the hero, but, I worship exclusively the Dark Forces, so Sigmar's more evil than they think. That's how it is. Okay, here we go. This final slot here, you can take one of your burn once and use, only forever cards. I happen to have unlocked some special one-use cards in these guys that I can summon these secondary NPC characters to my side. I'm going to summon Ulrich Nightrunner. Now, when you're starting a game and you put this in the slot, you're not burning it, you're actually bringing it with you. I was a little confused about this when I started playing, but this is actually bringing this one card into my new game. Now my warband is ready, and we're going to begin. So, this is very similar to FTL or Slay the Spire, if you're familiar with such games, in that we're going to start off with this node, and then once we defeat it, it's going to give us branching pathways that are randomly generated, but they're quasi-randomly generated. You've got to go through a series of, similar events. Like I've got to go through this gateway, then I've got to have a couple of, small battles, then I've got to go through this major gateway, then I'm going to do some mini-boss battles, then I'm going to finally, hopefully, fight my way up here to take on the Lady of Ashes, who is my arch-nemesis, and I have not managed to defeat yet, because, she's very powerful and even more evil than I am. So, well, wish us luck. No, we don't want to do that. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, we are already fairly advanced in this, and this is one of the potential shortfalls of this game, in that when I first start off on these first few levels, I'm going to be absolutely invincible. And as a matter of fact, I found that I've been unable to proceed from level to level until I level my guys up. And once I actually am able to defeat the Lady of Ashes, it's going to be an even toss-up as to whether I've done it because I've overpowered myself through brute force or because I'm actually using tactics. So, there's a lot of grinding in this game, and if you're looking for a very deep strategic experience, this isn't the deepest strategy game I've ever played in my life. It's not the lightweightest one either, but there's grinding involved and power levels matter. So there is an element of, kind of struggling uphill and dying a lot until you become powerful enough to steamroll over everything. So some people aren't going to like that so much. I personally enjoy it because I like the original struggle. I don't mind replaying because it's pleasant to play with my tiny little toy men and have them attack the, evil ghosts and goblins. And I like powering up and, becoming an ungodly force on the battlefield, which we're going to do right now. So, here we have the battlefield. This is where you'll be spending most of your time in this game. It always begins this way, in that there's going to be enemies on the map before your units ever hit the floor. All the maps are a similar size. This one's a little smaller than some, but they all take up about a screen, if not 2 screens worth of space, so they're fairly small battles. This is as far as we can zoom out. We can zoom way far in here to get a good look at our little friends. Oh, look at these guys. They're so awful. I love them. Yes. Okay, so to begin with, I can only summon one unit, and that is my Lord Celestant, Freya Skyhelm, and I can only put her into one of these 2 beginning spots. We're probably just going to choose this one, and there'll be an awesome lightning animation as Siegfried or Sigmund, or what's the name of this game anyways? Whatever the title's character is, he's going to warp her in for us.
The armies of righteousness come!
Bam! They certainly do, Freya. Let's kick some ass.
Alright, so I like the warp and lightning effect. I think it's awesome. Alright, so now that I've got my commander unit on the board, you can see that my options are opening up a little bit. My castigators have a little purple gem that says 6 over the tops of their heads, and my retributors have a 9. This is the amount of purpley stuff that I need to warp them in. Now, these guys cost a lot more than their naked base selves do, because they're carrying a lot of gear and skills, and the more gear and skills you put on a card, the more expensive they become to warp in. So really what this means is I get 1 point of purpley stuff, 1 extra point, that is, every round. So it's not going to be 3 more rounds until I can get my castigators on the board, and it's going to take me 6 more rounds to get my retributors on the board. Now that seems like a little nuts, and it's true that I could once I bring them into the game, I could strip all their armor and skills off of them, make them very cheap, and bring them in on round 1. However, as I mentioned, my character is a dominating godlike force on the battlefield, and can single-handedly steamroll through the first 3 levels, maybe even 4 levels, all on her disgusting lonesome. We at least want to warp our retributors in at some point, because, we want them to get the extra experience they get for hitting the map. From what I've been able to tell, all units get experience every battle. It looks like they get extra experience if they participate in the battle, and they get a very small amount for actively killing an enemy unit. There is no manual to this game, electronic or otherwise, which I find very unusual. There's not a lot of pop-up context clues here either, which is tragic for me. Maybe they'll patch that in later. Fortunately, you can kind of figure it all out as you go. Oh, here's a bunch of stuff. Oh, look at this. There's pop-up clues here. Oh, look at all this interesting stuff. I guess I should probably read that. Who knows? Anyways, you can move. I've got a movement point of 2, right? So I've moved 2, and now I can't really do anything else, so I'm going to end my turn. As you can see over here, we have a chest, and we have an urn. Oh, goodness.
Oh, you can't handle my power!
These guys are the Banshees. They want to rush you, and they explode when they die. So, you know, you kind of have to balance that out. Nobody can possibly destroy me, so I'm not that worried. For most of the maps, surviving with your commander intact is job 1. Job 2 is you want to collect this chest. This is where you get extra war gear from, and really collecting war gear is the heart of this game. You'll get 3 cards from this war chest. It's common, so you know, maybe I'll have a rare, probably not, who knows. It doesn't matter. Whatever the hell is in here, I want to get it because you know I love those war gear cards. Inside this urn, it has what they say ancient scrolls. These are lore cards that you can unlock. So far, I do not believe that lore has any gameplay effect whatsoever. Lore comes in series. There's like 20 different lore cards in each series. I want to think that if I unlock the entire lore chain, they'll give me some sort of awesome reward, but I have no idea as to whether that's true or not yet. So, we're just going to march our way up here. We'll zoom in a little bit because I like it. It makes me feel cool. Now, if I march 1 step, I can then attack, but I have marched 2 steps, so that's all I can do. Every turn, half of your purpley gems turn into bluey gems. And bluey gems are what you use to power your abilities down here with. Now, I only have 1.5 bluey gem, so I can't use either of my on-use abilities yet. However, you can move and then use your abilities. So you can move 1 space and attack. Essentially, you need 1 movement space to be able to attack. So I have a movement of 2, so I can either move 2, I can move 1 and attack, or I can stand still and attack. However, if you have enough bluey gems, you can always use one of your activated abilities. I don't have enough blue gems, so once again, my turn is over. Well, as you can see, they shouldn't even try. They should just run away and, you know, like, leave me to my peace. I've got skills on my character that once she takes an attack and counterattacks, after a successful counterattack, whether I kill the enemy or not, I gain 2 of my health back, which makes me essentially immortal against non-boss characters. Let's go over here. So I've destroyed the first wave, and once you kill the last monster in one wave, it will automatically trigger the next wave. So you want to be a little bit strategic about that on later maps. These pools of spectral energy are where the enemies are about to warp into. I still can't afford to warp any of my guys in. I can't afford to do this, but there's nobody on the board to do it, so I can't. If you are standing on top of one of these warp-in points, the enemy will not warp in, and the warp-in point will switch to another location the next turn. If you stand on the warp-in point after it moves, that enemy will never hit the map. So if you have a few units on the board and you're getting overwhelmed, you can use this to your strategic advantage. That being said, you know, this is the first level. We'll just end our turn. Almost nobody can move at all on their first turn. You're essentially coming to play tapped in Magic the Gathering parlance. You can apply skills to a character to allow them to move on the first turn, but this does make them more expensive to play, and it soaks up slots that, you know, could potentially be more useful. So unless you have somebody who's really frail and you're using for mobility purposes, I generally don't think that's a good idea. Okay, now, you may be able to see that these guys appear to be up on kind of a hill here. Like, here's a hill, okay? Oh, actually says raised terrain. And these guys are also on raised terrain. Raised terrain, as it says on the screen here, costs 1 extra movement point to move onto. So if I only have 2 movement points, moving up here would cost me all of them. Furthermore, if you're on top of the terrain, you get a damage and defense bonus against anybody lower than you. That being said, I can't knock these guys out in 1 hit because they're up on this raised terrain. Let's hit him with my Storm Slam, which does knockback, but because it's going to knock back into this, it can't knock him off. If I move here, I won't have both movement points, so I can't get up there. Jeez Louise. We'll just come over here and kill these guys out of frustration.
Yes! I am the blade of justice.
Except
duty commands.
I have a giant hammer, so am I really the blade? Come on, Freya. Get your stuff together here, kid. All right. We're going to bring in my castigators, who I love very much. They're essentially a archer unit that can also act as artillery. We're going to work them right on top of this war chest, and as you can see these cards rolling in, you may notice the center card has a little bit of a blue glow, and the last one had a green glow, so I got one rare item and one uncommon item, which is very exciting to me. Maybe it'll be something good. This early in the game, it generally is not something good, but hey, what the heck. So these guys have come into play, you know, with no abilities to move, and they're tapped, they can't do anything, they're just chilling out. I've used my abilities, so we'll end our turn. Now,
Oh, you rascals!
so these guys came in, and they wrecked my dudes. Oh, but you're not gonna wreck me. Oh, you never should have come off your perch, fools! Alright, now as you can see, I had 3 characters, and as they're taking damage, now I have 2. This is purely cosmetic. They still do their full damage when they attack. That being said, so if you look up here, you can see that there's 2 little yellow dots over the red dots. The red pips are their health, and the yellow pips are their armor. The way armor works in this game is if your attack... these guys, I think, do an attack of currently 3? Yes, 3. But you see they are only actually doing 1 damage because the 2 armor pips are removing from the damage. If the armor pips are greater than your attack score, then you can only do 1 point of damage to them, and they have a chance that they can roll on to negate all damage. So, obviously, the more armor you have, the much more puissant you are. These poor idiots only seem to have 1 pip. I think they came with 2, but their armor was rent, I think, from the attack from these guys. My main Freya bro here, yes, has 3 armor naturally, which is quite good. We'll go ahead and kill them with Freya. Oh no! Oh no! Oh! I've won victory. Oh, and I should have run my archers over and gotten that urn before I did. Fortunately, I got the chest, so it's not that big of a deal, but, you gotta unlock 20 of these freaking lore cards, and now I'm gonna have to play, you know, like 19 more times to collect all the lore, and who the hell knows if it even adds up to anything. Anyways, this evidently is Sigmar himself. He looks very stern, doesn't he? Yes, now there's a lightning beast that I would gladly follow, and indeed, I do. Alright, so let's see what we had in the chest here, and we get all of this. Resilient Sword, it gives you 1 health, and it looks like it has an ability... Ooh, Divine Edge deals 4 damage. That being said, I don't really care about health. Armor's where it's at. Extra health points, who cares? Extra armor points, they shield your health. Obviously better, right? That's what I think. Ooh, this is interesting. It's a skill that... This is the first time I've seen this. Yes, this makes it cost less rather than more to summon, and it doesn't look like adding the skill actually makes it more expensive. So that might actually be pretty good. I don't know. I prefer them to be more expensive and, you know, just kick ass. Total Protoss philosophy over here. And this just gets me tribute points, which to this date I think only are used to level up underlevel characters. We'll get into that a little bit later. I don't know if they have another function. And then, if I didn't find the chest, this would be my natural reward. I can choose one of these. Ooh, hunters. I don't really like hunters very much. They're kind of complicated, and I'm a simple man. Also, they have 3 attack, which is excellent. They've only got 1 armor, and even with their 5 life, 1 armor is really squishy. And I don't think I have any armor cards to put on them. That 100 tribute is... It's a good whack. The sword sucks. I'm gonna take the hunters just because I'm low on units right now. I don't really use them very often. They're not my favorites, but we'll take them. Okay, and I don't know. The level up thing seems to be weird. It looked like they just like circled all around, and now it's like this much, and they leveled up. Sometimes they level up when the experience bar here gets to just like, you know, arbitrary positions. So it's kind of bugged, I think, in the release version here. Whatever, it's fine. They probably leveled up. well, look, these guys are at max level with the exclamation point. Yeah, so badass. Love you guys. All right, so now you can see I've got branching paths. I can choose which one that I want to go to. They're the same skull difficulty. Ooh, and they both have a question mark as a reward, which I think means I can get almost anything, which seems pretty exciting to me. We'll do the one that seems to have more enemies, I guess. Also, it's a left-hand path. Don't we all want to take the left-hand path? I think we do. All right. Oh, great. Okay, so as you can see, there's green circles around this, all these guys. What this is saying to me is that I have gotten a new item since my last battle that could potentially replace something that they're using in that specific slot. It's this sword. I could replace my Shatterer's Second, but why would I want to? My Shatterer's Second is dominatingly better. As a matter of fact, my gear for everybody is better, except potentially for these new guys. And they can use it. Well, let's see what the Shuck's hand axe is all about. Deals 2 damage and stun as an ability. It doesn't have any extra damage on it. Its ability will interrupt channeling and stun. So that's actually pretty good. You like to be able to stun. Look at these guys with their weird metallic fur and their 1,000-yard dead-eyed stare. Well, that's cool, I guess. Do I want to put on... Oh, wait a minute. Do they come with a bolter pistol also? Oh, they sure do. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, right. I'm trying to add another war gear card, but I don't have anything. So, about this tribute. You might think, well, if you bring all of your characters in max level, what do you need the tribute for? Well, you can hold, as you see, up to 4 war units in your BAM, so because I can only start with 2, including my, not including my Celestant, everybody else that comes on board is going to be underleveled. And if I want them to be max level by the time I reach the end of the game, or the end boss rather of this stage, you essentially need to burn tribute. So I find that what you really want to do is save your tribute until you have a really good run going. Then before you go into a hard battle, burn it to level up your underpowered people, because you're always going to have at least a couple of underpowered folk. That's just how it be. Okay, that being said, we're not going to do that right now, because we're going to be very powerful for the next couple of stages. And yeah, we'll bring these guys along. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to remove this guy. He's going to... These are my... This slot down here is where you would put your single-use burn card. If we go to the War Spoils, they're called Divine Acts. Also, you can see now that we're actually in a run, I don't have access to my entire treasure chest. I only have what I brought... Ooh, except I guess I do have my skills. Ugh. You know, I didn't realize this. Evidently, you carry all of your skills with you constantly, which is tremendous. Oh, evidently you carry your war gear with you too. Oh no, you don't. This is only the war gear that I've gotten this run so far, right? So, evidently, between runs, you carry every skill you have ever collected. You have access to, which is fantastic, right? I mean, that's pretty powerful right off the tip. You only get the Divine Axe that you came with, you only get the war gear that you came with, and you only get the units that you collect during the run or that you brought. Skills is interesting. I didn't recognize this somehow. Alright, also yes, you can use the Army Painter. I've already painted my guys the way that I like them. I'm not going to change it. I think they look cool. Alright, let's see here. Painting figurines is obviously, classic Warhammer. Right, and we're going to take this guy off so I don't use him by mistake. I can only call him once, and he's pretty badass. Can we look at him? Yeah, here he is. It doesn't say his stats, but I promise you, he's really badass. He's like a hero unit in his own right. Probably I'll just keep him in my pocket all the way up until the final boss, who, as I mentioned, I still haven't been able to beat. So, here we go. Let's start the mission. And now we're back to the beginning of the game loop again. I feel like I've covered almost everything that you can do with this game. So what I'm going to do is end this specific video here, and then we will resume several later levels down the road when things have become more complicated and more interesting. Thank you very much for your time and watching. I hope this was interesting and informative, and worth your time.